Hey guys, what's up? I am back, and today I am doing a full 2025-2026 NFL season prediction video. Couldn't get my face cam working. I don't know what's going on with it. I'll figure it out at some point. Haven't done a video in a while. I think my last video was during the draft, and that was almost a month ago. Man, that's crazy. That was almost a month ago. That is insane. But anyway, we are back here, and we're going to be doing all 18 weeks of the NFL, doing my playoff predictions. This is going to be a long video. Do this every year. Usually do it right after schedule release. It's been about a week. I'm just, letting myself sit on it. But you know what? Let's just get into this. We'll start with the first game, which is the Thursday night game, Cowboys at Eagles. What I usually do week one, I'll talk a little bit about every team and how they improved, how they got worse in the offseason. So the Eagles, I do think the Eagles probably take a bit of a step back. You if you win the Super Bowl the way they did, you can kind of only really take a step back. But they did have a really fun draft. At least early on, they traded up for Jihad Campbell. He's someone I really like. Really good Zach Bond replacement. Or no, they still have Zach Bond. I forgot they retained him, but Jihad Campbell will be the eventual replacement for Zach Bond. And honestly, Jihad Campbell being that third linebacker actually allows him to be in sort of an edge role, which should help him out quite a bit in that first season, not having to be forced into a starting role. But they got Andrew Makuba to add to that secondary. But I like that a lot because I think their starting free safety was Sidney Brown, and I'm not a big fan of Sidney Brown. So they really improved on their defense. They got Ty Robinson, the defensive tackle out of Nebraska. He's just great depth there. Probably could split some snaps with Moro Ojimo, which I would like. I would like to see Ty Robinson getting some snaps in his first year. They got Mac McWilliams at a UCF. He's really fun. Just kind of a backup nickel corner. Kind of a backup nickel, which is good. They have Cooper DeJean in the slot right now, but he can move out and do some safety stuff. And Mac could actually get some starting snaps, I think, in this first season. They got Smile Mondon Jr., just another depth linebacker, which their linebacker room is really good. I think they have Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, and then they have Jihad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Smile Mondon, Dallas Gant, I believe. I believe they have Dallas Gant. He was a UDFA out of Toledo. And then they got their first offensive pick was in the fifth. They got Drew Kendall, center out of Boston College. He's fun. He's a great backup to Cam Jurgens, who did have kind of a lingering injury towards the end of last season. So it is good to get a nice backup, and I think Drew Kendall is a great developmental prospect. And, you got Stout U over there. That's great. Then they got Kyle McCord. Their QB room is pretty filled up. Obviously they have Hurts as their starter, but in terms of backups, they have Tanner McKee, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Kyle McCord. I believe that is their room. And I like Kyle McCord. I think he could honestly be a franchise quarterback. Then they got Miles Hinton in the sixth, just a backup left tackle, I think. They also got Holland Pierce in UDFA. So they have a couple backup left tackles, which I like. Jordan Mailata is obviously really good. But getting good backup there is always great. Jordan Mailata is getting up there in age. So nice to have some young, high upside backups. They also got Cameron Williams, the big developmental prospect who probably won't have any impact this first year. I think he needs 2 to 3 years of development, but getting him in the sixth was tremendous value. And then they got APR, Antoine Powell Ryland. in was it the 6th or the 7th? One of those, but no, he's fun. He's a good depth piece. I don't know if he'll make the roster, but good depth piece. They have great edges. They have Nolan Smith, Azeez Ojulari, Jalix Hunt, Bryce Huff, Josh Uche. So it will be hard for him to battle his way onto this roster, but APR is someone that I do like. Getting in the 6, I think that's adequate value. Looking at the roster as a whole, it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty well rounded. There aren't really any holes. You have their quarterback room, as I talked about, is set. Their running backs, obviously, they have Saquon, best running back in the league last season. They have Will Shipley, who I like, young guy, and they signed A.J. Dillon, who I like as their third running back. I guess their wide receiver room could have gotten a little bit of an upgrade, but I like it. I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson was solid last year. They have Johnny Wilson, the giant wide receiver. I think they got Ioneus Smith, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. They drafted him last season. He's someone that I liked. Tight end. I was expecting them to go with a tight end, because Dallas Goedert is 30. He's getting up there. And, yeah, Grant Calcaterra, he is fun, but he's not a tight end 1. So, and then they have Kylan Granson, I believe they grabbed from the Colts. So they're, and I think they have one more. They have Harrison Bryant. But overall, their tight end room is solid. I thought they would improve and take one later on in day 3, but they didn't end up doing that. But that's fine. Their team is pretty well rounded. They usually go for best player available instead of need anyway. Their offensive line, I mean, it's the Eagles. They're always going to have a great offensive line. They have Mailata, Dickerson, Cam Jurgens at center, Tyler Steen at right guard. I'm excited to see how that plays out. But then they do have Trevor Keegan as the backup, and they have Kenyon Green, who could maybe step into a right guard spot if need be, and Lane Johnson at right tackle, of course. And their defense, I mean, it's the Eagles' defense, just no real holes. I think Keely Ringo as a starting boundary corner is kind of a mistake. They do have Quinyon Mitchell, of course, as their cornerback 1. They have Eli Ricks. They got Adoree Jackson, who I like. He might actually start over Keely Ringo. I'm not a huge Keely Ringo fan, but Cooper DeJean could honestly play some boundary corner too, and that would be fun. Yeah, I think overall it's a very well-rounded roster, and I think the Eagles definitely take a step back with losing Kellen Moore, their offensive play caller. I think that's gonna warrant a step back for any team if you lose your play caller, unless you fired them. But yeah, so I think the Eagles are going to be a very good team this season. Maybe not as good as last season, which when you win the Super Bowl, it's hard to go into next season and not take a step back. Now we got the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys should be better this year. I don't see how they aren't unless Dak Prescott gets injured again. But they got Tyler Booker in the first, who really fixes their run game. Move Tyler Smith over to right guard. Tyler Booker will be at left guard. Really helps the run game. He's a really powerful run blocker. They got some really good value picks. They got Donovan Ezraku in the second, and he's good, man. He's good. I like their edge room. They have Micah Parsons. They have Dante Fowler Jr., Marshawn Kneeland, Donovan Ezraku. I really like what they're working with there. I think they have Sam Williams too, but I like their edge room. I think it should be solid, especially with Micah Parsons. They're always going to be contending in that edge group. Then they got Savone Revel, the cornerback out of East Carolina, in the third, which was unbelievable value. The thing is, he doesn't even have to start year one, which is great because he had the serious injury They have Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs as their boundaries, and then Savone Revel can just be that third corner, and you don't necessarily need him to get any starting snaps, which is great. Then you have Jadon Blue, the running back out of Texas, which they grabbed. Their running back room is definitely improved. They have Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, and Phil Maffa, who was a later draft pick. I like that. And honestly, even if Dak goes down, they did trade for Joe Milton. So they have a solid backup with some high upside. I like that. I think they should have probably gone and addressed their tight end room. They have Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford. I think they could have improved that a little bit, but I'm happy with the value picks that they got. They also got Shamar James, the linebacker out of Florida. Just add some depth. He won't be starting at all. They have Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn, Damone Clark, and DeMarvion Overshone, Maris Liufau. I like their linebacker room, so I'm happy with that. They got a Johnny Cornelius, who is great depth on that offensive line. Really good to have that backup right tackle to Terrence Steele. I like that pick for them, and that was tremendous value in the late 6th. They got Jay Toya, who is kind of just a backup nose tackle to Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith hasn't been phenomenal since coming into the league, but Jay Toya is just that big body that can sit in there and stuff the run. Then they drafted Phil Maffa and Tommy Akingbasote, another defensive tackle. Not a nose tackle, just kind of a 3-tech. And he's just depth. I don't know if he makes this roster. I don't know if he was really a draftable prospect, but I think overall their roster is pretty solid, especially their offense. I think their running game should be a lot better than it was last season. Last season it was just atrocious. Dak Prescott, if he's healthy for a full season, they should absolutely take a step forward. They obviously traded for George Pickens, so that improves their wide receiver group. They have CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jonathan Mingo, who they traded for last season, Kevontae Turpin, the electric returner, Jalen Tolbert. I think they have Jalen Moreno-Cropper and Trayshawn Holden. Trayshawn Holden is someone that they got in UDFA, the Oregon guy. Their offensive line with Tyler Booker should definitely take a step forward. It's always been solid, but I like that. Their interior defensive line, losing Dexter Lawrence, or DeMarcus Lawrence, not Dexter Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, that's going to be tough on them. Osa Odigizua is going to have to take on a much bigger role there, but I think he could be up to the task. Their linebackers are good. If DeMarvion Overshone can stay healthy, I think he was kind of the cornerstone of their defense when he went down, and then Micah Parsons had the lingering injuries. That defense was just kind of done. I think they probably should have addressed safety in this draft. Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker are their starters, but they don't really have much depth. I think Marquise Bell is their third safety, which is not good. I think they did get Elijah Clark in UDFA and one other that I can't remember, Zion Childress, I think. And they did sign Kyer Elam too to be a depth corner, which I like. So overall, I think they're a solid roster. They don't really have a nickel back, which is tough. I think who is their nickel? I don't even know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I do not know. Maybe Keemon Hall? I don't. Keemon Hall. I'm not sure. Maybe they're gonna move one of their safeties into the nickel. Maybe Israel Mukuamu is gonna move into nickel or maybe Troy Pride Jr. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what they're going to do in the slot. But everywhere else, I think they're pretty solid. So I think the Cowboys will definitely be a lot better. I don't know if they beat the Eagles, though, in the opener. I think I think that defensive line should still get run all over. They have solid edges, not the best run defending edges, and Mozzie Smith has kind of been a disappointment. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Saquon. I will give the Eagles the win here in Week 1, the home opener. I'll give them the win, but honestly, I could see the Cowboys shocking them. I am kind of surprised that the NFL picked this game to be the season opener. I thought that was a little bit strange, but you know what? It could shape up to be a good matchup. Now we will look to the Chiefs-Chargers, the next game here. And Chiefs had an all right draft. I really liked the value of Josh Simmons. I don't know if he plays year one. If I don't know if he plays early on, is what I'm saying. They might keep Jalen. They're gonna probably have Jalen Moore at left tackle to start, and then Josh Simmons will be working his way back and maybe start by week 6. They also have Kingsley Suamataia, who could go out there at left tackle. Then they drafted Omar Norman Lott on the D line. Taking guys and really capitalizing on what you do best. Omar Norman Lott learning from Chris Jones might not benefit them year one, but in the long run, that should help them out a lot. Ashton Jalote in the 3rd. They took him early 3rd, which I thought was way too early. I'm not a big fan of Ashton Jalote. I think he's worthy of a 4th round pick, but they took him early 3rd. That was a bit rich, especially when they have Karl Loftus, they have Mike Dana, they have FAU, who FAU hasn't been, that great. And Charles Omenihu. I think they have B.J. Thompson. I just think it was a bit of a luxury pick and not, I think, a bit too early, bit of a reach for me. But they did address edge, which is always a position. You can never have too many edges. Noel Williams is a really fun pick. I love Noel Williams. They took him late 3rd, but their secondary should be really good. They have Trent McDuffie, who is amazing. They signed Christian Fulton, who I'm very, very high on. Now they have Noel Williams. They have Jalen Watson. They have Darius Rush, Shamari Connor. And then their safeties, Jaden Hicks, Mike Edwards, Major Williams, Deion Bush, Brian Cook. Really, really good group in the secondary for the Chiefs. So I like that. I really like the Noel Williams pick. I think that's fantastic. And then they really improved their wide receiver room, getting Jalen Royals. I like what they got here. I mean, Rashee Rice hopefully stays healthy all season. Xavier Worthy. They got Hollywood Brown. They have Jalen Royals, of course. They have Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Ross. I think Tyquan Thornton. And Elijah Badger is actually someone I liked quite a bit. Then they drafted Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. He's someone that I think could be very versatile. He's a depth middle linebacker now. You could throw him, get him some snaps in pass rush. You could move him to strong safety. I think there's a very big role that he could fill here in being that versatile piece on the defense. And then they grabbed Brashard Smith in the 7th. I thought that was fantastic value. Brashard Smith is one of the greatest receiving backs in this draft, and they got him in the 7th. That was amazing. If Isaiah Pacheco is healthy all season, watch out. They got Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith. They have a really good roster. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Carson Steele, too, who I think they moved to fullback, but he's really good, too. They have Gardner Minshew as their backup, so even if Mahomes gets injured, they have a really solid backup there. I think they have Bailey Zappi, too. They have their tight end room. I thought they were going to address it in this draft. They did not. They have Travis Kelce, who's old and kind of definitely falling off. He's 35. I think he'll be 36 early in the season. But they have Noah Gray, who's good. He definitely took a big step forward last year. They have Jared Wiley, the TCU guy. I think they have Robert Tonyan, too. But their offensive line is probably the biggest concern. If Josh Simmons comes in and stays healthy all season, then they should have a really good offensive line. They kept Trey Smith. Creed Humphrey is obviously amazing. Juwan Taylor is fine. But Kingsley Suamatea and Wanya Morris, they have some backups that could step in if anyone is struggling. But I already talked about their secondary at length. I like their linebacker. Drew Tranquil and Nick Bolton are great. They have Leo Chenal, and they drafted Jeffrey Bassa. Great depth. Overall, I think it's a solid roster. You might have some holes at tight end and maybe on the defensive line. Just in terms of like stars, you have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis is good, but outside of them, their edge group is just solid. They have no one really good or great. And same with their defensive line. They have, I think, Fabian Lovett, Jerry Tillery, Mike Pennell, Siaki Ika. Just no one really. Maybe Omar Norman Lott takes a big step up year one, which is probably what they're hoping for. But I don't necessarily know if he's going to impact them year one. Now let's go over to the Chargers. Chargers, who took a running back in the first round, Omarion Hampton. Great pick for them. They have a really good running back room. They have Najee Harris, Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal, Hassan Haskins. Really, really love the Chargers running back room. And they dipped into wide receiver too and got Trey Harris because Quentin Johnston has been a major disappointment. So you know what? Let's make sure he's not even starting anymore. Let's just do that. They have Mike Williams, Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, Quentin Johnston, Darius Davis. They drafted Keandre Lambert-Smith, who I was a big fan of. They have Jalen Reagor, Brendan Rice, who they drafted last season. They have a phenomenal wide receiver group. I think in terms of depth, they have the best wide receiver room in the league or close to it. Now, their tight end room, it's fine. They have Will Dissly and Tyler Conklin, two older guys that really are not that great. They're just all right, but they did draft Aronde Gadsden, who's a good receiving tight end and could play some snaps at wide receiver, honestly. And he's a good blocker. Their offensive line is great. It's the Chargers. It's Harbaugh. Rashawn Slater, Bradley Bozeman. They signed Mekhi Becton, who I don't like. But he's kind of a good scheme fit with that running offense that they want to do. Joe Alt was fantastic. You look at their defensive picks. They got Jamari Caldwell in the nose tackle. They have the best nose tackles in the league, the best nose tackle room. They have Tier Tart and Jamari Caldwell. I mean, that is really, really good for them. They grabbed Kyle Kennard in the late fourth just to add to that edge room, which is really good. They lost Bosa, yes, but they have Deshaun Hand, Khalil Mack, Tui Pelotu, Justin Abugbie. They have Kyle Kennard, of course, Caleb Murphy, Bud Dupree. I like their edge room a lot. I like what they can do there. And then they grabbed a couple safeties late. They grabbed R.J. Mickens and Trequazy Bridges, which is certainly fun. I'm a big fan of R.J. Mickens. He should be, at the very least, a very good special teamer. Their secondary, it's all right. Their corners, I do question Dante Jackson and Cam Hart. They lost Asante Samuel. He's actually still a free agent, but it looks like it's because of an injury. They got Ben St. Juste. They have Tony Jefferson, Derwin James, and Alohi Gilman are their safeties, which I like. They got Tarib Steele in the nickel, which I'm a fan of. I think the Chargers will be just about what they were last year. They improved on their running game. They improved on their defensive line for sure, getting rid of Bosa and then drafting an edge and a nose tackle and re-signing Tier Tart. I like what they've done. I think they should be about where they were last season. I'm not going to have them making a huge jump up, but I do like what they did. I just kind of question their secondary. That's always kind of been in question for me. And I'm always gonna question their offensive play calling with what they have there. Who's their OC? Let me check here. Greg Roman, of course. Greg Roman. I was blanking on the name. I knew it was Greg Roman, but blanking on the name. But I really question his play calling. Not a big fan of him, but they have the roster to go far. So looking at this, it's counted as a Chargers home game, but it is in Brazil. Season opener. I don't see the Chiefs losing this. This is usually a game the Chiefs win. Every season I feel like I pick the Chargers to beat the Chiefs once or twice, but never happens. Hold up. There we go. I just got a text, a big long string of texts I had to read. But I feel like I always pick the Chargers to be the Chiefs. It never happens. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to win in the season opener here. Now we could just make our way down here. I'm going to try to go a little faster. I think we're like 30 minutes in, and I've talked about 4 teams. Steelers, Jets. Now this game, both teams made some pretty drastic changes. Steelers don't really have a quarterback unless they're starting Will Howard. I don't like Mason Rudolph. The running back room should remain about the same. They replaced Najee Harris with Caleb Johnson. They traded for DK Metcalf, of course, but then they traded George Pickens. So they have DK, Robert Woods, and no one else really on the boundary. You have Calvin Austin, Rowan Wilson in the slot. Scotty Miller is fine. Ben Skoranek. No one great on the outside of DK Metcalf. So I don't know how that's going to look. They have Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington as their tight ends. Their offensive line is fine. They have Mason McCormick, who was great last year. Zach Frazier I like. If Troy Fautanu stays healthy all year, then I think they're good. They have Troy Fautanu out at tackle right now. I think if he can stay healthy all season, he can be a serviceable tackle. But if he's injured, then they're going to be screwed. They don't have another right tackle, I don't think. Who's their backup? Gareth Warren? Like, really? I don't know what the Steelers are going to do if he gets injured. But they drafted Derek Harmon, who is great. They got a good value pick on Jack Sawyer. They got Yahya Black in that nose tackle role behind Keanu Benton. Who else did they get? Dante Kent, the cornerback. He shouldn't really get any snaps. I think their secondary is fine. They have Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr. It's just really depth that they need. They have Corey Trice, James Pierre. Not guys that I love, but Dante Kent could maybe step into a role there. Beanie Bishop Jr. I think is in the nickel for them. He's he's a rookie. You're not really gonna expect much. Or he was a rookie last season. He played fine. You're not gonna expect much out of that nickel spot. I think Dante Kent could be playing in the nickel too. I like their safeties though. They drafted Sebastian Castro. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Elliott. Or they didn't draft Sebastian Castro. He's a UDFA. They have Miles Killebrew, Juan Thornhill. Very good safety room there. They added Carson Bruner, the linebacker, to an already stacked linebacker room with Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Malik Harrison, Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith. I like their defensive. It's the Steelers. They've always had a great defensive line. Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, now Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, who I like. Steelers are going to be the Steelers. The only problem is, what is their offense going to look like with no quarterback and one good receiver? I don't know. This is going to be. This team is probably going to be very ugly to watch, like most Steelers teams. Now we move over to the Jets, who drafted Armand Membu in the first. I think that was a fantastic pick for them. Their O-line is a lot better than it was 2 years ago with Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu as the bookends to their offensive line. They have Elijah Vera Tucker, Joe Tippmann, who I'm a fan of, at center. I think John Simpson at left guard, unless they want to throw Xavier Newman over there. Not the best, not the best left guard room, but everywhere else I think they're pretty solid. They drafted Mason Taylor, who I think is great. They lost Tyler Conklin, but Mason Taylor's better. He's phenomenal. I think he was worthy of a first-round pick. And they got Mason Taylor. Behind him, though, they have, Stone Smart, Jeremy Ruckert. Not great. They have a tight end one and not much else. But they got a great value pick in Azareye'h Thomas in the third round. And he doesn't even have to start. They have Sauce Gardner and Brandon Stevens there. Azareye'h Thomas as their third corner is great. They have Quantez Stiggers, of course. Their safety room is fine with Andre Sisco, Malachi Moore, and Tony Adams. Malachi Moore was taken in the late fourth round for them. I think they also grabbed Dean Clark in UDFA, which I liked him. I thought he was definitely draftable, so I liked that pick for them. They got Arian Smith, the wide receiver, which I think they took him a little bit early, but their wide receiver room is all right. They have Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, who I'm not a fan of. They have Malachi Corley and Arian Smith now, Xavier Gibson, Josh Reynolds, actually. Then they took Tyler Barron, I think, in the fifth, and he's good. I like their edges. They have Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Tyler Barron, Braden McGregor, Michael Clemens, and their defensive line is good too with Derek Nadi and Quinnen Williams. And I think they still have Leonard Taylor, the UDFA that they got last year, who was an absolute steal. I like the defense of the Jets with Aaron Glenn there. I think they should be pretty good, but again, what's the offense going to be doing with Justin Fields as their quarterback? See, I feel like the Jets every season they make some moves and it's interesting. They got a wide receiver. They invested in the offensive line, invested in the defensive line, got a really dynamic tight end. They have a fun dual threat quarterback, but it's the Jets. It's the Jets, man. Am I really gonna sit here and think the Jets are doing anything? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this shakes out. I think week one in the Jets stadium, I think I have to give this to the Jets. Aaron Glenn's season opener. The Steelers, I don't know if I'm going to have them as a winning team. Last year, I think I picked them to be 3-14, and then they still had a positive record. But I might end up doing the same thing here. They just don't have a quarterback. They don't. I don't like Mason Rudolph. Will Howard is fine, but you're not really giving him anything to work with. He has DK Metcalf, who's going to be double teamed all the time, and he has no other receivers. I think their running backs are fine. I'm not a big believer in the Steelers. I'm going to go with the Jets to get the win here in week one. Now we got Dolphins and Colts. Dolphins, Colts, two teams that I think are mediocre. And I think the Dolphins definitely improved their defense. They grabbed Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips on that D-line. Ken Grant, I love him. He's gonna be starting for them. Their defensive line was just nothing. It was in ruins before the draft, and they grabbed Ken Grant, Jordan Phillips, Zeke Biggers, 3 nose tackles they grabbed, but they could also play in that 3-tech role. You know, they have Matt Dickerson, Zach Sealer, Benito Jones. Their edges are fun with Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson and Jalen Phillips. Mohamed Kamara, Willie Gay, I think is actually a backup inside linebacker, but he could get some snaps on the edge too. They have a really fun linebacker room with Willie Gay, Jordan Brooks, and Tyrell Dodson. I believe they drafted Eugene Asante, or maybe got him in Eugene Asante. I think they got him in UDFA. They took Quinn Ewers as a backup to Tua and Zach Wilson, who Quinn Ewers, I don't like him, so I don't think he'll have any impact on them. But they did sign Alexander Madison, and he is their third running back. Goes from being a starter in Vegas to now the third back on a very stacked running back group with a very good offensive play caller. Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, Ollie Gordon II, who they took in the 6th round. I really like this offense. It should be explosive. Nick Westbrook-Akine was a great signing for them. He's their third receiver. They have Malik Washington, D. Eskridge, Taj Washington. They grabbed Andrew Armstrong in UDFA, and I really like Andrew Armstrong. Also grabbed Theo Weiss Jr. in UDFA. 2 guys I'm a big fan of. Their tight end room is questionable. You know, they have Jonnu Smith, who was great last season, but then behind him they have Pharaoh Brown, Julian Hill, I believe. Not that great. I really like the Jason Marshall pick to add to their secondary. You know, Jalen Ramsey, I thought he was going to be traded during the draft. Didn't happen. But Jason Marshall Jr. could honestly start for them. They also have Cam Smith and Storm Duck there. Storm Duck was solid last season. I don't think he should be forced into a starting role. They have Artie Burns, who I love. Kader Kohu in the nickel. They drafted Dante Trader, who is a good 3rd or 4th safety for them behind Ashton Davis and Efiatu Melifonwu. I like their defense. I think it's solid, especially with Zach Orr as their play caller. And then their offensive line that they improved with Jonah Savaiania at right guard, now forcing Liam Eichenberg into a backup role. They have Patrick Paul at left tackle, who I like. I think he could be solid. They have James Daniels as their left guard, which I don't think is good. But they do have Josh Preeb as a backup, the UDFA out of Michigan, and Aaron Brewer as their center. Of course, I think that's solid. So I think they could probably be a middle-of-the-pack team. Their defensive line definitely made some significant improvements here. And I'm happy that they went that route. Now, looking at the Indy Colts, they took Tyler Warren in the 1st. Fantastic pick, getting him there at 14. I thought that was phenomenal value for him. And now they have a tight end 1. He's perfect for what they're running there with Anthony Richardson. Hopefully Daniel Jones doesn't win out the starting job, but they also drafted Riley Leonard, who fits what Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones do. He is a running quarterback. So they have a taste, clearly. Clearly Shane Steichen likes his running quarterbacks. They have Jonathan Taylor, Khalil Herbert they got as their backup, and DJ Giddens they drafted in the 5th. So the running backs are solid if Jonathan Taylor stays healthy all year. I like their wide receivers. A.D. Mitchell didn't have a great season last year, but I think he is a very good player. I think he's a tremendous route runner, and I'm looking forward to what he can do in year 2 with Pittman beside him and Alec Pierce, Josh Downs. They have Anthony Gould returning kicks, I believe. I'm glad they took JT Tuimoloau in the 2nd because they needed an edge across from Laiatu Latu. I think he should have a breakout year this season, and JT should be a very solid day 1 starter across from him. Kwity Paye just has not been great. So, kind of level him back into that third edge role. They have a good defensive line. Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, Adetomiwa Adebaware, Neville Gallimore, Tim Smith, who they drafted in the 6th. And then I really like the Hunter Wohler pick. I think he's a very solid safety. But I do like what they did there, signing Charvarius Ward. That was a great move, getting him across from Jalen Jones. They have Juju Brents and Justin Wally, who Justin Wally they got in UDFA, I believe. He is they actually picked him in the 3rd, which was crazy to me. I'm looking at him, and he was a UDFA on my board, and so I'm looking at him and like, oh, he must have been a UDFA. No, I'm just now remembering they took him in the 3rd, which is insane to me. Major reach, but I do like Justin Wally. I think he's solid. Should definitely be playing in the nickel, which is why I don't really get the pick, because they have Kenny Moore and Corey Ballantyne to play in that nickel spot. So the Justin Wally pick doesn't really make much sense to me. But he is a player that I like, just definitely not worth a 3rd-round pick. They have Cam Bynum and Nick Cross as their safeties. Don't really have much for a backup. I don't think Hunter Wohler is a startable player. But they grabbed Jalen Travis in the 4th as a backup to Braden Smith. Their offensive line is questionable. Quentin Nelson is elite, of course. But Bernard Ryman, I'm not a huge fan of him. They do have Blake Freeland as the backup. Braden Smith is fine. Matt Goncalves, I think, could be fine at right guard. And Tanner Bornolini, I think overall it's a solid offensive line at best. But I do like the Tyler Warren pick. I do like their quarterback room if Anthony Richardson can stop being so reckless. And I like the improvements they made on defense. But overall, I think it's just a middling team. So week 1, I think looking at this, with the explosive Dolphins offense, I don't really see how the Colts are going to stop that. They do have a good defensive line, but really, I don't think that I just don't see them being able to stop the Dolphins, and I don't really see the Colts offense doing all that much to scare this Mike McDonald defense. I'm going to go with the Dolphins here to get a week 1 win. Now looking at Bengals Browns here. The Browns drafted 47 quarterbacks. No, they traded back and got a future first, which was fantastic. Improved their defensive line with Mason Graham, and I like that pick quite a bit for them. Improved the D-line. They have Malik Collins, Myles Garrett. They don't have a great second edge. I mean, they have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, but he should kind of be a third edge. They have Isaiah McGuire. I don't know. No one that I'm a big fan of. They drafted Carson Schwessinger with the first pick of the 2nd round. He's nice. I think he could play some safety, play some linebacker. Maybe he could line up at edge. JOK is out for the season, which really sucks. But they have a good linebacker room with Schwessinger, Jordan Hicks, Jerome Baker, Nathaniel Watson, Devin Bush. I think they're solid there. They got Quinshon Judkins, who is a great improvement in their running back room. They have Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong. Their running back room is very good. I think it's very good. They drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. What are they going to do at quarterback? They have 5 quarterbacks. They have Deshaun Watson, who I believe is out for the season. But they have Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I don't know who's going to play. I don't know. I'm going to assume Joe Flacco is starting week 1. They improved their tight end room, grabbing Harold Fannin, a great receiving tight end behind David Njoku. I like him. They have a good offensive line. They signed Tevin Jenkins to a very cheap deal, which I mean, I don't know how they pulled that off, but they have a good offensive line. They should. They improved it a bit. Ethan Posick is good. Tevin Jenkins is good. I like DeJuan Jones at left tackle. I think he's fine. Wyatt Teller, I don't know if I love him, but Zach Zinter is the backup, and he should be fully healthy if he needs to step in. Jack Conklin as the right tackle is solid. Looking at their defense, I think they're fine. Just really needed that second edge, which they don't have. But their secondary is solid for now. I think they're definitely going to need to make some improvements down the road, because a lot of them are aging. Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson Jr., Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit. It's fine for now, but they're definitely going to have to improve it down the road. Now, looking at the Bengals, who are going to have a better roster, but we know how the Bengals perform. We know how they perform in week 1, so we know I'm not going to give the Bengals a win here, even if they might win it, but Bengals always lose week 1. They grabbed Shamar Stewart in the first, who shouldn't make a huge impact. Year 1, he's a major developmental prospect, but so was Miles Murphy, and he hasn't lived up to anything. They grabbed Demetrius Knight Jr. I really like him as a linebacker, and he shouldn't have to start with Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson ahead of him in year 1. So being able to be that third linebacker should definitely benefit him. They have Dylan Fairchild. Excuse me. They have Dylan Fairchild probably as their starting left guard, because they have Cordell Volson is their other left guard, and I don't like him at all. But I like Dylan Fairchild. I just think he's like the best backup left guard in the draft. I don't think he should be starting, so I don't love their offensive line. They also took Jalen Rivers out of Miami. I don't know if he's going to be a backup tackle or a backup guard, but either way, Amarius Mims, maybe he'll take a step forward, but their interior offensive line, I really don't like it at all. I think it's pretty bad. They took Barrett Carter, another linebacker, so they have a lot of depth at linebacker. Maybe they're planning on throwing Demetrius Knight out to safety, or maybe move Barrett Carter to edge. I'm not sure at all. They also grabbed Taj Brooks to add to that running back room with Chase Brown, Zach Moss, Samaje Perine. But, they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. You're always going to be contenders with that group. Their defense, they didn't really fix it, They took a developmental edge, which won't help them year 1, and they took 2 linebackers, which their inside linebackers are not the problem. That was the spot on their defense that was actually good. So, I don't know. Their secondary is still abysmal. Geno Stone is terrible. And their interior defensive line is not great. I like Chris Jenkins, but, you have B.J. Hill, who's good. But other than that, I'm not feeling it. I'm really not. But I think their offense could definitely make them contenders. I'm going to go with the Browns to win this game, because Bengals just always seem to lose week 1. Talk about teams making major improvements. We got the New England Patriots here, and what an offseason for them. What an offseason for them. They got Mike Vrabel as their head coach. I think they could be a wild card team. They have Drake May, of course, with Josh Dobbs as the backup. They have a good running back room with Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Antonio Gibson. They got some wide receivers. They got Kyle Williams, who they drafted in the 3rd, I believe, and Stephon Diggs alongside Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, Jalen Polk, who has no hands. They grabbed Efton Chisholm in UDFA. They have Javon Baker, too. Kendrick Bourne. I like their wide receiver room. Their tight ends are fine with Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, Jaheim Bell, Jack Westover, I think they grabbed. They have their offensive line. They made serious improvements here. They made some serious improvements, taking Will Campbell with the 4th overall pick. He's going to play left tackle for them right now. Could slide into left guard if they need it, but he should definitely stay at left tackle. They grabbed Jared Wilson, who should probably be a backup for his first season while he develops. They have Garrett Bradbury at center now, so have him start. And, if he gets hurt or if he's not doing so well, have Jared Wilson step in. They have Cole Strange at left guard, which is much better than Layden Robinson. Mike Onwenu is at right guard, I believe, right now, with Sidy Sow as the backup. Morgan Moses at right tackle with Caden Wallace as the backup. Just overall, and they did draft Marcus Bryant too to be a backup, just a depth tackle. But I like their offensive line. They made serious improvements, which they're helping out Drake May, and I like that. I like that a lot. Their defense, they signed Milton Williams to the highest Patriots contract in franchise history, I think. Christian Barmore, maybe he can stay healthy, but he has the blood clot thing, and that's really, really scary. That could end his career completely. But they did draft Josh Farmer, who could step up if Christian Barmore can't go. They also got Jahvaree Ritzie in UDFA, who is someone that I had as a big sleeper. I like their edge room. I do, with Harold Landry, Keon White, Anthony Jennings, Kalavon Chason, Braden Swinson is really, really good, and they somehow got him in the 5th. I think he was number 2 in pressure rate in college last year. Pass rush win rate. He was number 2. He is great. He is really great. They improved. They got Craig Woodson to be their nickel. Behind, I think they have Marcus Jones there now, but good backup nickel. And then they got Kobe Minor, I think, at the end of the draft. I'm not really sure what role he's gonna fill, but they grabbed a kicker. They grabbed a kicker. They got Andres Borregales as their kicker, and that's nice. That's nice, man. And they grabbed long snapper Julian Ashby. So addressing some special teams positions. Their special teams wasn't good last year. So it's nice to see them addressing spots of need, even if they seem pretty minor. But I like what the Patriots did this offseason. I think this could actually be the best week 1 opener because of 2 teams, probably the 2 most improved teams in the offseason. Moving over to the Raiders, who traded for Geno Smith, a borderline top 10 quarterback. This is what, talk about a fucking improvement, dude. The Raiders went from having Aiden O'Connell, a bottom 5 all-time quarterback. Bottom 5 all-time. He is a bottom 5 quarterback in the last 100 years. And they got Geno Smith, a borderline top 10 quarterback in the league right now. What a turnaround for the Raiders. Just unbelievable. And then they get Ashton Jeanty as their running back with Raheem Mostert backing him up. They have Zamir White still. Unbelievable. They have Jacoby Myers. They drafted Jack Besh and Dante Thornton Jr. What an amazing draft for them. Getting Jack Besh, who can be an immediate starter. Dante Thornton, who has DK Metcalf upside, but they don't need him to be that because they already drafted a solid wide receiver that can start. They have the best tight end room in the league with Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. Their offensive line, I love it. I love their offensive line. They grabbed Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant both in the 3rd. I think they're both going to be backups now, but 2 really good developmental prospects. Charles Grant could be that left tackle of the future. Caleb Rogers could be a guard or a tackle. They improved that defensive line with Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues. I really like J.J. Pegues, who can also play fullback, which is fun. I don't know if Chip Kelly really uses a fullback, but J.J. Pegues is fun. And I like their defensive line. They re-signed Malcolm Kuntz. They have Tyree Wilson, hoping he breaks out. Andre Carter, Max Crosby, of course. Christian Wilkins on the interior with Adam Butler and Leki Fotu, and now Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues. They have Devin White and Landon Roberts and Tommy Eichenberg as their linebackers. They got Cody Lindenberg, the linebacker, in the 7th. I think that's tremendous value. I would have taken him in the 4th or 5th. He is fantastic. Their secondary, I am questioning a little bit. They have Jacorian Bennett and Eric Stokes starting, which is very questionable. But they got Darian Porter in the 3rd, which is tremendous value. He is amazing. He's the perfect Pete Carroll cornerback. Just a giant, lengthy corner that's super fast. He could be Reek Woolen and end up starting week 1. DeCamerion Richardson and Mello Dotson, I believe, are some other depth corners for them. They have Q Blue Kelly, who I've always liked. Their safeties are really fun. With Jeremy Chin, they have Lonnie Johnson Jr., Trey Taylor, Hudson Clark, Jonathan Sutherland. They have Isaiah Polamau starting. And I really like this Raiders team. I think they could... If Pete Carroll wasn't their head coach, I would probably give them 12 or 13 wins. It's just the Pete Carroll defense that it doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. So you got to look at their offense and how explosive that is going to be. They might be the Bengals of last season, just putting up 40 points a game, but their defense is allowing 40 a game. I really like this. I really like this matchup. This is going to be really fun week 1. I'm going to go with the Raiders to get a win with Geno Smith at the helm here. But both teams, I really, really like this season. I really like how they've improved. Now here, looking at the Broncos-Titans. Broncos, I don't know how to feel about them, really. They took Jahdae Barron, which was kind of a shocker to me. They have R.J. Harvey, who they drafted in the 2nd. Big reach on that. Kind of a Javonte Williams replacement, but I don't love their running back room. R.J. Harvey, Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin. Don't love it. I think Bo Nix is fine. Don't like the receivers with Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele. They have Troy Franklin, and they drafted Pat Bryant, another overdraft in the early 3rd. But they did get a really good pick in Savion Jones to be that 3rd edge behind Zach Allen and Nick Bonito. Whew, that's really fun. They also have Jonathan Cooper, Jonah Ellis. They drafted Q Robinson. They got Johnny Walker in UDFA. Really fun defensive line. I think their defense should actually be really solid, especially now getting Talanoa Hufanga from the Niners. They signed him in free agency, and they drafted Jahdae Barron to play in the nickel. Their defense should be very, very good. Very, very good. They signed Evan Ingram in free agency. Didn't really address the offense other than Pat Bryant and R.J. Harvey, but I don't love those picks. I think their offense will be fine, but their defense really, really good. I think their defense will be. I think they'll be back to that no-fly zone. I really do. Now looking over to the Titans, they got the big pick. They got Cam Ward, number 1 overall. I don't think he'll be anything year 1, and I don't think Brian Callahan is the guy to develop quarterbacks. They got Femi Oladejo in the 2nd. I think that's a good pick. They traded back, and they were able to get Femi Oladejo. I think that's a good improvement on their defensive line. I think their starting edges right now are, Arden Key and maybe Draymond Jones if they keep him at an edge. But they got Kevin Winston Jr., who if he can actually sit and just be a 3rd safety year 1 because they have Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods, but he's a really fun player. I do like their secondary. They have L'Jarius Sneed and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is a questionable starting corner. But Roger McCreary is fun in the nickel. Their linebackers aren't great. They have Cody Barton and Cedric Gray and Otis Reese. I don't know. I don't like their linebacker room right now. But getting Gunnar Helm in the 4th was great value. They got Chimere Dike and Alec Iomaner. Alec Iomaner, I think, is a first-round pick. So really, really good wide receiver room for them, having Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, Alec Iomaner, Van Jefferson, Chimere Dike, and they have Tyler Lockett. I don't know what role he'll fill with all the other guys there. But they got Jackson Slater in the 5th, who is great value. I really like their offensive line with Peter Skoronski, J.C. Latham. They signed Kevin Zeitler to be right guard. I think their offense is solid if Cam Ward can play somewhat passably. I do question Jarvis Brownlee Jr. being a starting corner and their linebacker room, but I don't know what they'll be. I just don't think Cam Ward is a year one starting cornerback. I'm gonna go with the Broncos to get this win here. Then we got Ravens Bills. What a fun matchup. Ravens gave Derrick Henry a monster extension, which was crazy, but they got Malachi Stark. They had a great draft, like always. They got Malachi Starks. They got Mike Green, Emory Jones Jr. Good depth for now, but could be a starter. Teddy Buchanan, I think, was a little rich for that pick, but they got some other good value guys like Robert Longerbeam and Aeneas Peebles later on. They got Tyler Loop, so it looks like Justin Tucker is out of here. The Ravens and the Bills, they're always going to be the Ravens and the Bills. They're always going to be a solid team. I think the Ravens getting DeAndre Hopkins definitely improve on offense. And Emory Jones Jr. is great depth if they have an injury or if Roger Rosengarten isn't great. But Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton is so fun. They still have Bo Braid, the UDFA from last year. I like Robert Longerbeam as their backup nickel behind Marlon Humphrey. I think he's very, very good. I was a little surprised that they didn't get like a bigger edge. They got Mike Green, who I don't like at all. That was like the one pick in their draft that I didn't really like. So I question their edge room, but I think everything else is good. I think they're good on literally everything else. They're good on. And then the Bills got Maxwell Hairston in the 1st. I don't like him. I don't like him as a person with the allegations, and I don't like him as a player. You watch the tape, and I'm just not impressed at all. I think, like, allegations aside, I think he's worth, like, a late 3rd. I'm just not a big fan of him. TJ Sanders, too. I wasn't a big fan of him. I wasn't a big fan of their draft as a whole. Getting Landon Jackson in the 3rd was solid, but then Deone Walker in the early 4th. Come on, man. Jackson Hawes was fun, though, as a fullback. Jordan Hancock is a fun nickel. Or safety, if they want to throw him there. I think he's more of a nickel. Dorian Strong as a boundary corner. I did like him. And they got Chase Lunt, a tackle, which is very fun. I like him as a developmental tackle. And I think they got Caden Prather in that wide receiver room. I think it's an okay draft in day 3, but the day 1 and 2 picks were just I wasn't about it. But getting Joshua Palmer on that 3-year deal was great. Next to Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, they also signed Elijah Moore. And so I like their wide receiver room, and they drafted Caden Prather, who I like. The running back room is not great. They have James Cook, who's good, but then Ray Davis and Ty Johnson behind him. I don't love them. I think their defensive line, they improved it with Deone Walker and TJ Sanders and Landon Jackson, but some really developmental prospects that won't help them early in the season. They got Joey Bosa, who probably won't stay healthy. But overall, I like their secondary. I think they're just the Bills. You know, they didn't make any major improvements, I don't think. Um, and so that's why I'm going to have to give the win to the Ravens. I think the Ravens actually made serious improvements to their safety room. I'm only questioning their edge group, but everything else I think is really good. And I don't know if the Bills are going to beat the Ravens week 1 in a revenge game. I don't know how that's going to go down. Panthers, Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars, they got a new head coach, Duval. Um, and so that makes me hate them even more. I don't like the Jaguars this season at all. I think they could be the worst team in the league. Of course, they traded up for Travis Hunter, who it looks like they're going to play him at mostly a wide receiver, which is crazy to me. You need a boundary corner next to Tyson Campbell. Put Travis Hunter there. Don't be playing him at wide receiver. They are. I don't like Travis Hunter as a receiver, so, that doesn't mean anything to me. They grabbed Caleb Ransaw, major reach in the third, but he's a nickel, so he'll be behind Jordan Lewis. Wyatt Milam was a solid pickup just to be depth, I think, right now. Maybe he steps in for Patrick McCarry or Ezra Cleveland if there's an injury. Bashal Tutin is a fine running back, but I mean, there's just nothing on this team that I can point out and I could say is a strength. Like maybe cornerback with Tyson Campbell and Travis Hunter, but there's no depth. There's just nothing I like here, really, on this team. I mean, Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, I like his edges. I think their defensive line could be solid, but just nothing I like here. Now, the Carolina Panthers, this is a team that I think could sneak into a wild card spot. I like the Panthers, especially, honestly, in such a weak division. I think the Panthers could actually give the NFC South a run for its money and maybe win it. I like their wide receivers. Ted McMillan, Jalen Coker is really fun. They signed Hunter Renfrow. They got Jimmy Horn, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette. They have David Moore. Really, really like their wide receiver room. They also have Moose Muhammad, Jacoby George, I think, Kobe Hudson. Just a lot of guys I'm a big fan of. They have their tight end room is fun. They grabbed Mitchell Evans, who is probably one of the best blocking tight ends. He's like a Will Dissly type. They have Tommy Tremble and Jatavion Sanders, who should take a step up. They have Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle and Trevor Etienne as their running backs, and Raheem Blackshear, who I like. I like their offense, and their offensive line is good. They have Sticky Icky at left tackle. They have Damian Lewis, Austin Corbett at center. They have Taylor Moton and Robert Hunt, Chandler Zavala as a backup, Cade Mays as a backup center. I like their offensive line. I think they should have a good offense. I do. And then they really, really dipped into that defensive line. They got Princely Uman Mielen and Nick Scorton in the second and third. Really, really improved that edge room, who now they have DJ Wanham, Nick Scorton, Princely Uman Mielen, DJ Johnson, Pat Jones. They had almost no one going into the draft. And so it's very nice that they addressed that. They also took nose tackle Cam Jackson to be behind Bobby Brown and Shy Tuttle, who I like that pick. I really like him. And they have Lathan Ransom, who is probably going to start for them next to Trayvon Moehrig, who is a great get. They also have Nick Scott, Damani Richardson. Michael Jackson as a starting corner is kind of their one hole here on this team. But I think the Panthers, pending good coaching, could be a really good team this year. I'm going to go with the Panthers to get that week 1 win on the road in Duval. Now we got Texans Rams. This could be a fun game. I already know who I'm going to have winning this, but let's talk about the Texans first. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll really improved that wide receiver room, which is good. It's nice to see them do that with all the injuries they have. They grabbed Ariante Ursary, who should start at left tackle, but they also have Cam Robinson there. I still don't like Juice Scruggs as the right guard, but what are you going to do? Jalen Smith, I really like. He's a really fun cornerback. Um, and I think he could play in the nickel, but they also have Jalen Petrie kind of playing in that role, so he could play on the boundary. I think he's capable of it as that third safety. Um, they have Woody Marks. I like their running back room with Dameon Pierce, Joe Mixon, Woody Marks. I think they have Ogunbowale. Uh, I think they're a solid team. I like their tight ends: Dalton Schultz, Brevin Jordan, Cade Stover, Luke Lachey was a draft pick of theirs. Their offensive line is just the real issue here. I like I like their tackles in Ursery and Blake Fisher, but their interior is terrible. Are they going to have Laken Tomlinson starting at left guard? Seriously? Jarrett Patterson, Juice Scruggs? Terrible interior. Um, Good edges, though. Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter, Daryl Taylor, Danico Autry. Really fun edges. Their defensive interior is garbage. They have Tim Settle Jr., Sheldon Rankins, Mario Edwards Jr. Just all their defensive line is so old. They're going to be completely gassed by week 6. I don't see the Texans as a major threat this year. I really don't. I don't know if they make the playoffs. Whereas the Rams, they have an explosive defensive line, especially on the interior. And you're going against this interior offensive line? Come on now. Come on now. Let's see, for the Rams, they grabbed Terrence Ferguson. They got a future first, which is an insane steal for them. But I like the Rams. If Matthew Stafford could kind of, crumble, if their offensive line gets all injured again. But I think they're a solid team. I don't see how they don't make the playoffs unless Matthew Stafford does get injured. But, they got Josiah Stewart, Jarquez Hunter, Chris Paul Jr. Really just kind of addressed need instead of value. But I like them. They have a phenomenal defensive line. They have an okay secondary. I think that's something that teams could attack, but you got to be able to attack it with a good offensive line. They signed Devontae Adams, traded him for Cooper Kupp, essentially, and that should be an improvement, honestly, over Cooper Kupp. I think their offense could be good pending Matt Stafford stays healthy. And I think the Rams are going to be a very solid team here. I'm going to go with the Rams to get a very easy win here. Now, Saints-Cardinals. Saints are another team. I just don't see them as being good. They have Kellen Moore, the new head coach, so possible. But, their offensive line, they improved with Kelvin Banks. Now they can move Tali Fuanga over to his natural position. But their interior is fine with Dylan Radunz. Nick Saldiveri being a backup now is actually good. Their interior is definitely questionable. But they got Tyler Shook as their starter. What are you going to do there? Carr retired. He wasn't going to play this season anyway, but Shook and Rattler are going to start week 1. That is terrifying. How are the Saints going to win any games with that quarterback room? I don't understand it. They could if they just rely on the running game, but Kellen Moore is more of a passer. They have Brandon Cooks, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. But it is weird that they didn't draft a single wide receiver. I don't know. I don't like the Saints. They could have an okay defense, but their offense is going to be atrocious. And then you look at the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are being handed a free win here. I do. I really do. I mean, the Cardinals, honestly, they could be another wild card team. I really do think that. I like what the Cardinals did. Outside of their first round pick, Walter Nolan, I'm not a big fan of, but Will Johnson in the middle of the second, holy mother of God. They have Starling Thomas, Sean Murphy Bunting, Max Melton, Denzel Burke, Will Johnson. And for safeties, you got Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, DTD, Joey Blunt, Jamie Robinson, Katan Crawford, They have Garrett Williams, who was the best slot corner in the league last year. Like, are you kidding me? Cardinals could have the best secondary in the league. It's unbelievable. Their defensive line is questionable with Walter Nolan. They have Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell. So I don't love their defensive line, but they did get Josh Sweat. That was a good move for them. Darius Robinson with a full season or off season of being healthy. He might take a step forward. They drafted Jordan Birch, who I loved. They got a lot of guys that I love. Jordan Birch, Will Johnson, Cody Simon, Denzel Burke. Lots of guys I really, really like. Cardinals defense is really fun. And their offense is fun. It's just their offensive line is a question. You know, are you going to have Evan Brown as your left guard for the entire season? How's that going to work? So everything except their offensive line I think is really good. You know, their wide receivers are questionable. Again, they only have MHJ as their real receiver, and then no one else that's good. But interior offensive line and wide receiver are really their two biggest concerns here. I will go with the Cardinals to get a win, though. Then we got Falcons Buccaneers here. This might be the battle of the division. I did mention, of course, the Panthers, but this could be the real battle of the division here. Falcons, I don't know what the fuck they were doing in the draft, giving up a future first for James Pierce Jr., seriously. But they got Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., who they probably play both on the edge, which it's good for them for finally addressing edge. Their pass rush should be a lot better. They also got Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman to improve that secondary. So I think their defense should be good this season. I do. It's just their offense. How's that going to go? I think early on, their offense probably struggles. Maybe later in the season, they start to get better once Michael Penix has more room to grow. Their offensive line is good. They drafted Jack Nelson just as a depth guy. Their tight ends are questionable. And, you know, Ray McCloud honestly stepped up last season. I thought their wide receiver room would not be great, but it's good. They just don't have much depth. But I like the Falcons team, I do. But I feel like I say this every single year, and then they always disappoint and miss the playoffs. But Buccaneers, man, what a great draft for them. They got Emeka Ibuka in the first. I mean, talk about a wide receiver room with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka, Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer, Tez Johnson. I mean, Tez Johnson sucks. But Sterling Shepard. What a great wide receiver room. Then they have Benjamin Morrison, who could start for them at corner, but he doesn't need to. They have Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum. He could be a third cornerback for them, and he should be a franchised guy. They have Jacob Parrish also on the boundary. If they want to play him there, he's more of a nickel, but they do have Tyke Smith in that role. Unless they want to move him to free safety, keep him primarily there, and then have Parrish starting in the nickel, which I think works. They drafted David Walker, who I don't like. I think their edge room definitely needed some more improvements. They do have Hassan Reddick, but I don't know. I don't like their edge room. They have Chris Braswell. I don't know. I really don't like their edge room at all. I think that's going to struggle. They also drafted Elijah Roberts, another edge, but really they have Hassan Reddick and no one else in my eyes. I don't like their defensive line outside of Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea. Good interior, just not a good edge group. Looking at this, I am going to go with the Buccaneers to get the win. I think Michael Penix will struggle early in the season. Now we got Giants Commanders. I mean, we know who's going to win this, but Abdul Carter was a fun pick. I think Jackson Dart will start for the Giants. You have Darius Alexander was another pick for the Giants. That was a good value pick, honestly, adding to that defensive line, which I do like. You know, they do have, I think, Roy Robertson Harris, which sucks for them. But Darius Alexander could start. He should start the season. I like their defensive line. They might have the best defensive line in the league with Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, Raheem Nunez-Roches, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, are you kidding me? Chauncey Golston? Are you kidding me? Then they have Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden and Darius Musow, who I like a lot more than most, as their linebackers. And they have a good secondary, too. They signed Javon Holland. They have Tyler Nubin, Paulson Adebo, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips. I like their defense a lot. It's their offense that's the question. They have Russell Wilson. Don't like him anymore. Jameis Winston, he's fine. And Jackson Dart now. But, I don't like their running backs. Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Eric Gray. I do like Cam Scatabo. That was a good pick for them. But I really don't like... And I'm surprised they didn't address wide receiver in the draft because they have Malik Neighbors, yes, but behind him they have Jalen Hyatt, who hasn't been good. They have Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. Same with their tight ends. They have Theo Johnson as their starter now. Who do they have behind him? Daniel Bellinger? Greg Dulcich? Come on. Their offensive line is... okay, I think Marcus Bowe could actually start year one. Evan Neal is just garbage. But Marcus Bowe could start year one at right guard, honestly. They have John Michael Schmitz. Andrew Thomas is good, of course. But they have Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle, who's just okay. Their offense is the real question. I think their defense is really, really good. But their offense is a big question mark. Now we go over to the Washington Commanders, who took Josh Connerly Jr. in the first, which is kind of a surprise for me. I think he'll play right tackle to start the season, but I think Brandon Coleman is fine at that. But Josh Connerly Jr. at right tackle. They have Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. Great move to get him. I think their offensive line is solid. They have Deebo Samuel as one of their receivers, who I don't think he's good anymore. But they drafted Jalen Lane, a really speedy guy. I like him. They have Luke McCaffrey. They drafted Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt out of Arizona, so he gets added to that room of Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler. Jaden Daniels, he's fantastic. You look at their defense, and I still do question the Dan Quinn defense. Their defense was garbage last year. I don't think it'll be much better this year. They didn't really address it in the draft. They did grab Trey Amos, who I'm a big fan of. He should start, which will allow Mikey Sainristil to move to nickel. So their cornerback room should be good with Sainristil in the nickel and Marshawn Lattimore and Trey Amos on the outside. But I don't like their safeties. I don't like Quan Martin. Bobby Wagner is so old, he can't move anymore. How are you going to play in a division against Saquon Barkley when you can't move anymore? They have Frankie Louvu, who I am a fan of. Their defensive line is not good. It's not good. They have Javon Kinlaw and Jerzon Newton, who are fine. But I don't know. I don't like their offensive line or their defensive line at all. I don't think this defense is really going to do anything. So I'm looking here at a battle between a team with a terrible offense and a great defense against a team with a great offense and a terrible defense. This one, I'm going to go with the Commanders to get this win because I really don't think the Giants' offense is going to do much of anything this season. But this could honestly be a toss-up. I'm going to be honest. I think the Giants' defense could win them some games this season. Now we look at the Seahawks versus the Niners. Niners lost a lot this season, yet they're still like the favorites. They got Mykel Williams, who is a major developmental prospect. He shouldn't be great year one. They addressed a lot on their defensive line, though. With Mykel, they got Alfred Collins and CJ West on the interior, which helps. Their D-line should be solid. Their interior defensive line should be good. It's their edges. Nick Bosa is really their one guy. Mykel Williams is going to be forced to start year one because who else is there? Robert Beal, Yetur Gross-Matos. Really just no one there. Niners completely flubbed the draft and taking Nick Martin in the third. He wasn't even draftable for me. They just gave Fred Warner and George Kittle monster extensions. Same with Brock Purdy, which is a bit crazy to me. But they didn't address offensive line, which is so weird to me. Trent Williams is going to be injured like 4 weeks in, and then you're just cooked for the rest of the season. Dominic Pooney is fun, but their offensive line is bad. Brandon Ayuk is going to be out early in the season, and then by the time he comes back, like Williams is going to be hurt, CMC is going to be hurt, Purdy's going to be hurt, George Kittle's going to be hurt. Like, seriously, man? And their secondary is fine. I mean, it's just fine. They drafted Upton Stout, who's like 5'8", to play in the nickel. And Upton Stout versus JSN? No, he is not. Dude, rookie Upton Stout against JSN in week 1 is just no. That is a major mismatch. Malik Mustafa is also going to be out early in the season. And they lost Charvarius Ward. I think the Niners are going to struggle early, at least. I do. And then you look at the Seattle Seahawks. They had a really good draft. Gray Zabel should step in and be that starting left guard. And John Schneider finally addressed the offensive line. He finally did it. You had made some major offseason moves, trading Geno and getting Sam Darnold. I think that's a major downgrade. Traded DK, but you got Cooper Kupp and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You drafted Torrey Horton and Ricky White. Torrey Horton shouldn't get a starting role year 1, but he can make a major impact, and he should be returning kicks and punts, which helps. Nick Emanwari as the third safety is fun, man. That is really good with Julian Love and Kobe Bryant. That defense should be really good. Unfortunately, Byron Murphy is still in the nose tackle role, which is going to limit his production a lot. But you got, if you put Jaron Reed in nose tackle and have Byron Murphy in 3-tech, I think you're looking at things a whole different way. You got Jalen Milroe, who probably won't see the field. Elijah Arroyo as your second tight end behind Fant. It is weird to have 2 receiving tight ends. I don't love that pick, but AJ Barner is a good blocker. You get Robbie Oates to be your fullback. Damian Martinez is a really good running back to get in the 7th. Riley Mills probably won't play much early in the season because he's coming off that injury. But Mason Richmond and Bryce Cabledew are just some good depth offensive linemen there. Richmond, kind of that backup right tackle. Cabledew could be a backup left guard. You get DeMarcus Lawrence in the offseason, and if he's healthy, then that's a good edge group there. If Nwosu and DeMarcus Lawrence stay healthy, I think that is a good edge group. It's just a very, very big if. The problem is the cornerback room. Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe are the starters, but behind them is Nehemiah Pritchett, Shamar Jean-Charles. You did get Zy Alexander, who is fun. He is fun in UDFA, but really that's a spot I would have liked to take a draft pick there. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win week 1 just because of the injuries to the Niners. Now we got the Packers and Lions here. This might be a very good game. This could be a very good game. The Lions got Tyleik Williams in the first. Some people thought it was a reach. I don't see that. I think that was actually a really good pick for them because Ali McNeil was injured. So, get Tyleik Williams to kind of replace him early on in the season. Tate Ratledge should start for them at right guard, which is tremendous. Isaac Tesla was a bit of a reach in the early third for me, especially since they already have Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond. Did you have to take Isaac Tesla in the early third when Alec Iomaner fell to the late 4th? No, absolutely not. But Miles Frazier is probably their backup right guard or center. He could do either. Ahmed Hassanin was a bit of a reach for me. I don't think he was draftable. But, I mean, they're the Lions. Their secondary is really good. Their offensive line is tremendous. Their running game should be really good. I think they probably take a big step back losing Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. So honestly, the Lions, they have the roster. Do they have the coaches? Because they lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. So this is going to be tough to see what they do. This team is kind of unpredictable. I think they could take a major step back. They're probably a wild card team this year. I really do think they are. It's going to be hard to really know what they're going to be able to do this season without those guys that were so critical to their success, or so crucial to their success. Now we got the Green Bay Packers. Improved a lot in their wide receiver room. They got Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. That's very fun. Savion Williams probably won't do much year one, but very fun. And they got Anthony Belton, who could develop at tackle, could step in and play guard if they need. He's very versatile. Very, very versatile. Baron Sorrell was a major reach in the fourth, but they did get some depth at edge. They have Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Enagbari. I think they have Colin Oliver, too. They got a little bit later, and he could play some edge. I do like the Nazir Stackhouse signing in UDFA for them. I'm a big fan of him. But, the Packers, I think their secondary is questionable. Jair Alexander is still there. You have Keyshawn Nixon, I think, is a starting corner. Their cornerback room is not good. It's not good. Who did they draft at corner? Micah Robinson in the 7th? That's not going to get it done. It's just not going to get it done. I think their secondary is questionable. Same with their edge group. Same with their defensive line. Their defense might be bad this year. It might be bad. I've never liked Jordan Love, but he's okay. They did improve at receiver, and their O-line should be good. So I think their offense will be solid, but their defense is probably going to be pretty damn bad. So I'm going to go with the Lions to get this win. I think their run game will just manhandle the Packers. And honestly, their passing game could too. I really don't like the Packers defense this season. Then we got Bears-Vikings. Two teams that are being way overhyped this season, but maybe more so with the Bears than the Vikings. If J.J. McCarthy could be solid, then good. If J.J. McCarthy is injured and they're starting Sam Howell, game over. Season over. Their running backs, they got Jordan Mason behind Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler, so I like that for them. They got Donovan Jackson to play left guard, so I really like their offensive line. They got Donovan Jackson to start, Christian Darrisaw at left tackle, Brian O'Neill at right tackle. They signed Will Fries and Ryan Kelly, who already have that connection. So I think their offensive line is fantastic as long as there are no injuries. And obviously they have the best wide receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson, and they have Jordan Addison. They drafted Ty Felton, who should be wide receiver 3, letting Jalen Naylor sit on the bench with Rondell Moore. But they have a good wide receiver room. I do like Kobe King, the linebacker they grabbed, just as depth. Their secondary is a bit questionable. They have Mekhi Blackman and Isaiah Rodgers starting. They do have Jeff Okudah. Harrison Smith has always been good, but Josh Metellus is a starting safety. They have Byron Murphy Jr. in the nickel. I'm not a big fan of their secondary, but everywhere else, I think they are very, very good. I think they're very good everywhere else. As long as J.J. McCarthy can be a game manager, I think the Vikings could be very good. But they could also flop out. They're definitely not going to get the, 14 wins that they had last season. There's no way. No way. Moving over to the Bears, they got Ben Johnson as their head coach now, so they should probably take a step forward, but I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs or be this division winner that some people are seeing them as. They grabbed Colson Loveland over Tyler Warren, which is crazy to me. I don't really understand that one. But I do like Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland. I think that's a good tight end room. They have Luther Burden with Roma Dunze and DJ Moore and Olamide Zaccheaus. So good wide receiver room. I do like Ozzy Trapilo to be that backup right tackle there. He is tremendous. I think he's the best pure right tackle in this league. Of course, they have Darnell Wright there, yes, but maybe they're looking to develop Ozzy Trapilo into left tackle, which I am questioning. So I don't think Ozzy is the best fit for them, but they do have Karan Amagaje as that backup left tackle, so he could take over if Braxton Jones is struggling. They traded for Joe Tooney at left guard, who was a great grab. Shamar Turner on the defensive line is very fun. They had 3 second-round picks. Getting Zoff Frazier in the 5th is a great pick. I do like their secondary with Jalen Johnson and Zoff Frazier, Tyreek Stevenson. They also have Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens. They have Kyler Gordon in the nickel, who I'd kind of question. But I like their running back room, too, with DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson, Kyle Monungai. Caleb Williams should definitely take a step up this season with the play calling of Ben Johnson. Just don't think they're going to be this elite team that a lot of people are thinking they are. I am going to go with the Vikings to get this win in the season opener, but this one could be a toss-up. All right, now I'm going to go a bit faster. We've spent over an hour and a half talking about each team and what they did, how they improved. Now we're going to move on, try to make it a little quicker. So week 2 here, we have Bills-Jets. I'll go with the Bills to get this win. And now, you know what? I think this is where the Patriots get their first win. I talked about the Patriots as a potential wild card team. I think the Patriots are going to get this win here against the Dolphins. I think their offense matches up pretty nicely against that defense. Now here, I will go with the Bengals to get a win against the Jaguars. Like I said, I think Jaguars are probably the worst team in the league this year. I'll go with the Ravens to get a win against the Browns. I think the Browns quarterback room probably leads them to 5, 6, 7 wins, but I don't think they're going to be much more than that. I don't think they're going to be taking down these good teams. Now the Colts, it's really their offensive line that I don't like, but the Broncos' defensive line, I'm also not a huge fan of. I think that the Broncos secondary is going to be able to handle the Colts here. We'd go with the Broncos to win that one. And then Monday Night Football, very good game here. Geno Smith and the Raiders taking on Jim Harbaugh. This is really fun. This is really fun. I think the Chargers D-line is good enough to stop their running game, but their passing game, I think Geno is going to be able to light up that secondary, and vice versa. Honestly, I think this could be a shootout, 33-30 type of game. I'm going to go with the Raiders to get the win here. But this one, do I change it? This one's tough, man, because the Pete Carroll defense I don't like. I think the Raiders defense will be worse than the Chargers defense. So, I will go with the Chargers to get this win here on the road. And now we got Rams-Titans. I don't think the Titans are going to be anything this year. I don't believe in Cam Ward. I'm going to go with the Rams here. Steelers-Seahawks. Steelers, this is an early game for the Seahawks. Steelers defense against Sam Darnold. Not a big fan of Sam Darnold. I think the Steelers are going to be able to pull out this win here against the Seahawks. Chiefs versus Eagles coming off the mini bye, but Chiefs play on Friday, so they kind of have a mini bye as well. But I will go with the Eagles to get this win here. I think Eagles are going to be able to handle although this is another tricky one at home. The Chiefs are looking for a revenge game. And you know what? Eagles lost their offensive play caller. I'll go with the Chiefs here. I'm gonna switch it up here, and I'm gonna go with the Chiefs to get this win against the Eagles' revenge game. Now, do we have 2 Monday Night Football games? I hate when they do the 2 Monday Night Football games. I hate it. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers to get this win over the Texans just because I really don't like the Texans' offensive line. I really don't. And I think it's going to cost them. Packers, Commanders, Thursday Night Football. Packers are probably going to be able to run all over the Commanders. Again, I don't like their offense, or their defense, but I also don't like the Packers defense. I think Jaden Daniels is going to torch that Packers defense. You know what? I will go with the Commanders to get a win here, just be able to torch that Packers defense. Now, Cowboys coming off a mini bye at home against the Giants. This is going to be a Cowboys win here. I just don't see the Giants offense being able to do much this season. 49ers are going to get an easy win against the Saints here. And then Lions versus the Bears. Here is where the Bears are going to get a shocking win in week 2, and that's going to be the talk of the town, man. That's all you're going to see on these sports shows are the Bears, that team. Cardinals, Panthers. I'm going to go with the Panthers to get the win. Again, I like the Panthers this season. I do. I really like them. And then Vikings, Falcons. This is a good one, man. This is Sunday Night Football. That's good. This is going to be a good matchup, hopefully. Ooh, this is fun. J.J. McCarthy against that new improved defensive line. I think Michael Penix against the Vikings' elite defensive line, he's going to struggle. I think Michael Penix struggles early, but then maybe finds his groove later on in the season. Now, here we go. It's just like Chiefs Chargers. I always pick the Dolphins to beat the Bills once a season, and I feel like it never happens. I'm going to go with the Bills to get this win here. Titans, Colts. I will have the no AFC South team as a win. I will have the Titans getting this win here because I do like their wide receiver room. I think they're solid. Patriots, Steelers. This defense, Steelers don't have a quarterback. I'm going to go with the Patriots to get this win. Jaguars versus Texans. I'm going to have the Texans winning that one. That one should be relatively easy, although it is in Duval. So, who knows? But Chargers, Broncos, another divisional matchup here for the Chargers. This one I think the Chargers should take with relative ease. Again, I think the Broncos are a middling team this season. Vikings, Bengals. Now here I'm going to give the Vikings their first loss. Joe Burrow is going to torch that secondary. He's going to absolutely light it up. He is. I don't see the Vikings as being able to win that game. They could go off against the Bengals defense, but Joe Burrow is gonna whoop them, I think. Now we got Bucks versus Jets. This is a game that honestly I could see being an upset. I could see the Jets upsetting here. Again, the Jets are a solid team. It's just they're the Jets. What are they going to end up doing? But the Buccaneers, I'm going to give the Buccaneers the win because I just cannot trust the Jets ever. Commanders coming off a mini bye. Versus, you know what? This one is tough. Again, I think the Commanders' defense is going to be atrocious. I think the Raiders' defense is going to be pretty bad too. Who's going to have the better offense? Probably the Commanders, but the Commanders' defense is probably worse too. I think this one is going to come down to the wire. I think this is a very close game. It will end up being a shootout. I will go with the Commanders, though, to get this win. Now we got Browns and Packers here. This one isn't too hard for me. I'm going to go with the Packers to get that one. Okay, don't need to talk about this one too much. Okay. Ravens, Lions. This is fun. I'm going to lean Ravens just because the Lions lost their play caller. Their play callers, I'm going to go with the Ravens there. Eagles should be able to run all over the Rams. I don't think that's going to be a close game at all. Panthers, I'm going to go with the Panthers to get this win over the Falcons here. Panthers are 3-0. I like that. Seahawks should get an easy win against the Saints. If they don't, that's going to be very concerning. 49ers at home, but Cardinals I think are just the better team. I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. Bears, Cowboys, this is Sunday Night Football. Oh, no. What's Sunday Night Football? Why is this game so... That's crazy, bro. All right. Well, Bears, this is probably going to be like a 3-point game, too. Bears, Cowboys, Bears at home. I think Bears at home, that probably gives them the advantage. I'm going to give the Bears the win. I'm not confident in it, though. Now, week 4, we have Titans, Texans. I'm going to go with the Texans here. Chiefs, Ravens. This is a fun one, and this is not a primetime game. Chiefs at home, I think, is just going to be the advantage here. I'll go with the Chiefs to stay undefeated. 2 Monday Night Football games. Awesome. Hate when they do this. So Dolphins coming off a mini bye. I think that's the advantage here, and I like the Dolphins offense quite a bit this season. Monday Night Football, I'm going to go with the Bengals here. Steelers, Vikings. I'll go with the Steelers to get a win. I think that defense against a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, I think it's enough to get a win. Patriots, Panthers. This should be Sunday Night Football. That is a good game, man. This is 2 teams that I think are going to be on the come up this season. Patriots are fun. I think Patriots have the better defense, so I will go with Patriots to get that win here. Patriots are 3-1 to start. Giants against, again, it's the offense. It's the offense of the Giants. I don't think they're going to be doing anything. I'm going to go with the Chargers to get a win here. Bills off a mini bye. That's an easy win. Another easy win here for the Lions. Rams over Colts. Rams D-line is just going to shred through that Colts offensive line. I don't think they'd stand a chance there. Niners, tremendously easy schedule here for the Niners. They're probably going to cruise their way to a playoff spot just based on the easiness of their schedule. And then Raiders here at home. I think Geno Smith and Ashton Genty are going to be able to do enough against the Bears there to get that win. This should be a Seahawks win here on the road. I think it will be a close game. Buccaneers, Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles to get this win. Eagles passing attack is going to be enough to take down the Buccaneers. Now we've been going almost 2 hours. We're only on week 4. Commanders versus Falcons. Here's where the Falcons are going to get their first win. Here, that running game against the Commanders defense. I think it's a bad matchup for the Commanders. I do. I think it's a bad matchup for the Commanders. I think Michael Penix gets his revenge game from last season. Packers, Cowboys. Now this one could be fun. I think the Packers are probably gonna run all over the Cowboys. Whoever loses this drops to 1-3. But you know what? Cowboys are probably gonna be improved. Cowboys at home in prime time. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys to get that win there against the Packers. Packers seem to start slow every season. Ravens, Texans. This is going to be a Ravens win. That D-line is going to tear through their offensive line. Now we got Colts hosting the Raiders. This should be a Raiders win. Bills hosting the Patriots. I'm going to go with the Bills to get this win at home. This is Sunday Night Football, is it? Yes. Sunday Night Football. That's a good game to have on Sunday Night Football. I like that. Now, Chiefs are going to take this. Jaguars are 0-5. I don't like the Jaguars. I don't. This is an overseas game. Okay, overseas game. Browns are not equipped for that. Jets, Cowboys. Cowboys going to get a win here. Eagles, Broncos. I really don't think the Broncos are going to be great next season. Panthers, Dolphins. This should be a Panthers win here. Although, no, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here just because that I think that offensive play calling is going to be enough to take down the Panthers. Michael Jackson against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, no thank you. Cardinals off a mini bye, that should be a win for them against the Titans. Chargers versus Commanders, this is fun. I'm going to go with the Chargers to get this win here. Just based on their... I think the Commanders against any team with an explosive offense are just immediately losing. With any team with an explosive offense and a somewhat good defense, or even a solid defense, I think they're just losing it. See, the Commanders, last season, the Commanders were just this team. They had the easiest schedule in the league last season. And now this season, they're not going to have the easiest schedule in the league. I'm going to go with the Lions here. Lions should destroy the Bengals defense. Rams, Niners. Rams probably get this. Niners usually beat the Rams in the regular season, but I'm going to go with the Rams to take that win there. Now here's the battle of the defeateds. I'm going to go with the Giants. Giants, just their defense is too good to lose to the Saints in that QB room. Now off a mini bye, Seahawks versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers offense is fun. That's going to be a good matchup for Seattle, but I don't know. That defensive line, the thing is, any game where Sam Darnold is going to have to actually put the team on his back and throw, it's not going to work. I don't think the Seahawks running game is doing much against that defensive line. I'm going with the Bucs there to get that win. Now we got Jets, Broncos. This is going to be this is actually an international game. I'm going to give the Jets the win there. I will give the Jets the win overseas. Now Steelers off a bye going against the Browns. I'm going to go with the Steelers here. I think their defense is good enough. Dolphins, Chargers. I'll go Chargers here for this one. And Raiders, Titans. Nice easy win for the Raiders here. Bump up to 4-2. Now this one, 10 a.m. game for the Seahawks, a tough one, but coming off that loss, that should be a win. Rams off a mini bye, shouldn't matter. The Ravens should be able to take this one over the Rams. Then Colts, Cardinals. I'm gonna go with the Colts to get this win here. I think their offense could be good enough to take down the Cardinals at home. Saints should just stay winless for the whole season. Patriots are going to get a win here. Packers coming off that bye, that's very helpful. I see the Packers winning this one. Josh Jacobs is going to go off. He will. He'll go off. Now this is I'm glad this is Sunday Night Football. Chiefs, Lions. I'm going to go with the Lions to win this one on the road. Hand the Chiefs their first loss. We got no undefeated teams now. Falcons coming off a bye on Monday Night Football. 2 more. Oh my God, why do they do this? Why do they do so many Monday Night Football games? Just give me one. Guys, like, if you want to do it, just do a Saturday game. Do a Saturday night game instead of 2 Monday night games. Come on, man. All right, I'm gonna go with the Bills to get this win against the Falcons. Then we got Commanders at home, but they are against the Bears coming off a bye. I think the Bears are gonna use that one to their advantage there. Cowboys, Panthers. This is a game I feel like the Panthers should win. Buccaneers, 49ers. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers to get this win at home. And then Eagles are just going to smoke the Giants. Bengals, Steelers. This is going to be a Steelers win. Thursday Night Football. Titans, Patriots. This one, Mike Vrabel revenge game. Hell yeah. Chiefs, Raiders. I've got to give this one to the Chiefs here. Browns, Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins. Chargers, Colts. I'm going to go with the Chargers. And the AFC South is just garbage. Okay, well, this one is overseas. Jaguars are going to get a shocking upset win overseas. They're in London. That's just how it goes. This one should be a Panthers win. Broncos versus Giants. I'm going to go with the Broncos here. And then we got Seahawks on Monday Night Football against the Texans coming off a bye. I don't know if it matters. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. The Seahawks defensive line should just shred through that Texans interior offensive line. Vikings coming off a bye doesn't matter. No. That is going to be an Eagles win. Surprised that's not Sunday Night Football. What is Sunday Night Football? Seriously? We got Bears Saints. This should be a Bears win. Saints are garbage. They're just garbage. Cardinals versus Packers. Packers are probably going to get this win here. This one could be a toss-up. Cowboys Commanders. I'm going to go with the Cowboys to get a win at home. Only reason I'm giving it to the Cowboys is because they're at home. 49ers on Sunday Night Football. This one's tough. I'm going to give this one to the 49ers here, just because they're at home. Lions, Buccaneers. 2 more Monday Night Football. My God, man. That really irks me. This should be a good game, though. This should be fun. I'm going to go with the Lions to get the win. I think their passing attack should be enough. Yeah, I think Lions are going to take that. Now we're into week 8. Okay. Bengals at home. I think they take this win. Coming off that mini bye. Browns, Patriots. I'm going with the Browns getting an upset win here. Colts, Titans, battle of the terrible. Colts, give it to them. Chargers, Vikings. This is a fun one. I think the Chargers defense is solid enough. They should take this. Texans, 49ers. I'm going to go with the Texans to get this win here. I think their offense should definitely be able to do enough to take down the Niners. Panthers at home against the Bills off a bye. You got to give the Bills that win. Got to give it to the Bills there. Falcons, Dolphins. I think Falcons pass rush is going to be enough. This is probably when Penix is starting to heat up. They're starting to get in their groove. Maybe the games are getting a little bit closer. I think Falcons are going to start heating up here. Ravens off a bye are gonna take down the Bears. Broncos at home. I'm gonna have them winning this game, moving to 500. Steelers off a bye. I don't know if it matters. Give it to the Packers there. Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. Chiefs, Commanders. Explosive offense, good defense. That's got to go to the Chiefs here over the Commanders. And then this should be another Eagles win. Eagles sweep the Cowboys, the Giants. And then we got Saints, Buccaneers. I'm going to have an upset here. Saints somehow crawl their way to a win at home against the Buccaneers. All right. Now every team has a win. Saints getting there first there. Dolphins, Ravens. I got to go with the Dolphins. Dolphins just always seem to upset the Ravens. I feel like it happens every year. Texans, Broncos, battle of the mid. I think Texans offense is probably good enough. Why does this feel like a rival game? Texans, Broncos feels like a rivalry game to me, but it's not. But I'm going to go with the Texans to get a win. Titans against the Chargers. Titans are going to get an upset win here against the Chargers. Steelers at home against the Colts. I think the Colts are going to take this one here. Raiders off a bye. Jags off a bye. This belongs to the Raiders. And now Bills always beat the Chiefs in the regular season. That's just how it goes. Bengals against the Bears. This is a fun one. Bears defense is not going to be able to do enough to stop Joe Burrow, I don't think. Patriots, Falcons. This one could be fun. I still don't love the interior offensive line of the Patriots. It's fine. I'm still going to go with the Patriots to get this win here. Improve to 6-3. All right. Panthers, Packers. Give me the Packers here to get that win. Lions off a bye. Lions should take this. Although Kevin O'Connell, he's a mastermind, and the Lions don't have those play callers. No, I'll go with the Lions to get that win. Giants at home against the Niners. That's going to be a Niners win. Rams off a bye. Easy win for them. Seahawks off a bye. I'm not sure it matters. Seahawks have a good defense, but I don't think their offense is good enough to beat the Commanders. I'll go with the Commanders win there. Monday Night Football, Cowboys hosting the Cardinals. Give me the Cowboys to take that one. Now into Week 10. Broncos, Thursday Night Football. Broncos are at home. I'm going to take the Broncos to win this one and get to 500. Raiders fall to 0-3 in the division. What did I do? Texans, Jaguars. Give me the Texans. Jaguars are going to be garbage this season, I think. Jets off a bye versus Browns off a bye. Middling teams. I'll go with the Browns here. Dolphins off a mini bye. Shouldn't matter. Bills should take this. Chargers at home. I think they're actually going to lose this to the Steelers here. I'm going to give that one to the Steelers. I think it's just their defense. It's really their defense. Falcons should take this against the Colts. Vikings hosting the Ravens. I'm actually going to go with an upset here with the Vikings winning this one. And now we got Bucks off a bye. That should be a Bucks win over the Patriots, but this should be a good one. Giants, Bears. I'm actually going to go with a Giants win here. I think the Giants defense is going to completely throw off Caleb Williams. Saints, Panthers. Let's go with a Saints upset win. It's a divisional game. Things are crazy. Seahawks should sweep the Cardinals here. That run game should just be too much for them. Niners at home are gonna take a win against the Rams. Commanders have no chance against the Lions, I don't think. I don't think they have a chance against the Lions here. I'm going to go with the Lions to get the win. And Packers hosting the Eagles. This Packers don't have any chance there, I don't think. Now we got easy win for the Patriots there, improving to 7-4. Titans off a bye in Tennessee are going to get a win. Their interior defensive line is good enough to where they should be able to beat the Texans once. Steelers at home are going to beat the Bengals. Jacksonville is going to lose to the Chargers. Broncos are not beating the Chiefs off a bye. You cannot beat the Chiefs off a bye. There's no way. Ravens take this. Dolphins. This is overseas. I will go with the Commanders to get a win, but this could be a good game. Bills, Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Bucs to get an upsetting win here. Okay. Raiders at home on Monday Night Football. Oh, thank God. It's the only Monday Night Football game. Thank the Lord. Raiders off a mini bye versus Cowboys off a bye. I don't think Pete Carroll beats the Cowboys. I don't think he does, unfortunately. Vikings at home against the Bears. I'm going to go with the Vikings to get a win. Falcons versus Panthers. Give me the Panthers here. Improved to 6-5. Giants are going to lose to the Packers. I think Seahawks lose to the Rams here. Rams jump ahead. I think Cardinals. This one's tough. I'm going to go with the Cardinals to get a win at home here against the 49ers. And Eagles, thank God they made this prime time and not like fucking Jaguars, Chargers. I'm honestly surprised they made this prime time and not Bengals, Steelers. But I'm going to go, this is a tough one. I will go with the Eagles here. Improved to 9-1. Eagles are going to knock off the Lions, and Eagles are in sole possession, 2 games ahead of first place. Now we got Thursday Night Football, Texans, Bills. Bills should take this. Chiefs, Colts. Colts off a bye. Chiefs are at home. I think Chiefs win that. Bengals, Patriots. I'm going to go with the Bengals offense. Just doing a bit too much for the Patriots. Ravens, Jets. Give me the Ravens. And then Raiders at home should take this one. Okay. Then we got Bears at home. I'm going to go with the Bears to get this win over the Steelers. Steelers just don't have a quarterback. I think their defense is good enough, but just not good enough to be a real contending team. Seahawks, give me the Seahawks over the Titans, and give me the Cardinals over the Jaguars, who are 1-10. Packers versus Vikings. This is going to be a good one. I'll go with the Vikings to get that win over the Packers, but they are fighting for that wild card spot. Lions are going to beat the Giants here. Saints off a bye are going to lose to the Falcons. Cowboys at home. I'm actually going to go with the Cowboys to beat the Eagles here. Rams should beat the Buccaneers. Niners against the Panthers. I'll go with the Niners to get this win, but this should be a close one. I'm glad this is Monday Night Football. This should be a close one. I like the Panthers this year. Ravens, Bengals. I'm going to go with the Ravens to get that. Titans, Jaguars. Give me the Titans at home. Give me the Titans at home, and they're actually in it. They could win the division. Texans, Colts. I will go with the Texans to get to 500. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers off a bye. They're going to take this. I don't think the Raiders have a chance there. Raiders get swept by the Chargers. Steelers at home. I think Steelers are usually a bad matchup for the Bills, honestly. They usually are a bad matchup for the Bills, but I'll go with the Bills off a mini bye to take that. Thursday Night Football. Oh, this is Thanksgiving. Okay. So we're Thanksgiving football. Wow, great Thanksgiving games. Wow, Lions, Packers, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Bengals, Ravens. Thank you, NFL. Thank you. Oh, tremendous job giving us 3 potential amazing games here for Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. Hopefully Christmas is the exact same. Thank you so much. I'm surprised that's not the Sam Darnold revenge game is not primetime. I will go with the Chiefs to get this win, but thank you for that game. Dolphins off a bye are going to take this over the Saints. Jets, Falcons, give it to the Falcons here. Browns, 49ers, I'm going to go with the 49ers. Commanders off a bye. Commanders off a bye probably win this one. And Patriots, I'm going to go with the Patriots to actually major upset. Giants defensive line is just going to tear through that offensive line there. Now, Lions usually don't win on Thanksgiving, do they? They usually don't win. Here, let me look at this. Let me see here. Lions record on Thanksgiving. Please, let me see the Thanksgiving game results between the Lions and whoever they face. So, yep, Lions lost to the Packers last year on Thanksgiving. Lions lost to the Bills. Then they lost to the Bears. Then they lost to the Texans. They lost to the Bears. They lost to the Bears. They lost to the Vikings. Oh, they beat the Vikings in 2016. Okay. I'm actually going to go with them to lose this one. I will go with the Lions to lose this game to the Packers because they just lose on Thanksgiving. That it seems like that's what happens. Black Friday football. This should be a slaughter. The Eagles are going to slaughter them. Cardinals, Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers there. Panthers, Rams. I think Panthers are actually going to get an upset win here at home over the Rams. And then Vikings, Seahawks. This one's tough. I think Sam Darnold revenge game will loom large, but it's a very close matchup. Jets. Jets at home. I'm going to have them winning one. against the Dolphins, kind of knocking them down in terms of playoff contention. Ravens, Steelers, I'll go with the Ravens. Jaguars in Duval. Jaguars are going to take this one. And then Browns, Titans. I'm going to go with the Titans to get this one. Titans are hanging in there for the division. Raiders, Broncos. Give me the Raiders here. Improve to 7-6. Bills at home are going to lose to the Bengals. Loud-ass helicopter or some shit. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to beat the Texans on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. Ooh, this is fun. I'm not sure. This is a fun one. I'm going to go with the Chargers at home, actually, to take this win. Chargers get to 10 wins here. Now we got Lions at home against the Cowboys, both coming off a mini bye. It's not really a mini bye because it's just a week later, so it's just like a regular week. I will go with the Lions to get this win. Packers, Bears. Packers own the Bears. Give me the Packers there. Vikings are going to lose to the Commanders at home. Then we got Falcons, Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks here. Buccaneers are not going to get swept by the Saints. They are not going to do that. And then Cardinals, Rams. Give me the Rams to take that win there. Now, week 15. We're getting into it. Chiefs, Chargers. I'll go with the Chiefs to sweep the Chargers. Bengals, Ravens. Give me the Bengals here. Patriots off a bye are going to beat the Bills at home. Jaguars are... Ooh, okay. Jaguars are going to win in Duval against the Jets. And the Steelers on Monday Night Football. This is actually a fun one. I think Dolphins offense should be able to do enough to take them out. Now we got Texans, Cardinals. This is fun. This is actually a really fun game. Oh, I hope I could win the Seahawks game. Dude, I'm gonna be watching this game. This one might be really fun. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals to get a win over the Texans here. That is a fun one. That is a really fun one. I like that. Bears at home are gonna take care of business against the Browns. Eagles, Raiders. I'm going to go with the Eagles. Well, actually, no. Give me the Raiders. Pete Carroll does not lose to the Eagles, ladies and gentlemen. He does not. Somehow, some way, Pete Carroll always finds a way to beat the Eagles. Give me the Niners off a bye against the Titans. That should be an easy game for them. Seahawks should be able to take care of business against the Colts. And Broncos. I'm actually going to have the Broncos upset the Packers at home here. Thursday Night Football. Give me the Bucks to win that. Giants off a bye. This is going to be an upset. Giants off a bye are going to beat the Commanders here at home. Rams versus the Lions. This is fun. Oh, this is fun. Give me the Lions coming off the mini bye. Saints at home, but Panthers are off a bye. I'll take the Panthers there to get that win. And then Cowboys at home here. I don't know. I think this is actually a good matchup for the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings to win this one. All right, now Titans are going to get smacked here. Honestly, although, you know what? This could be an upset. I might pick this. This could be a very fun upset. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick the Titans to beat the Chiefs here in Week 16. Wow, that's awesome. Ravens, Patriots. I'm gonna pick the Patriots to get an upset over the Ravens here. Browns, Bills. Bills are going to take this. Broncos, Jags. Give me the Broncos. We're now at 7-8. They're fighting for a playoff spot. A lot of people are in it now. A lot of teams. Texans versus Raiders. Give me the Raiders to take this win here. Dolphins at home against the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals to get that win. Cowboys, Chargers here. Cowboys, Chargers. This is a fun one. I'm going to go with the Cowboys at home to get a win over the Chargers. Saints, Jets. Give me the Saints just because they're at home. You know what? No, give me the Jets. I'm going to take the Jets. I don't think the Saints are going to be winning any games, really. So get the Saints out of here, man. Maybe one or two upsets, against a division rival. That should be it. Lions at home against the Steelers. I think Steelers are going to win this one. Steelers are going to get an upset over the Lions here. I think it's that defense against Jared Goff. Should be able to fool him. Colts are going to lose one to the Niners here at home. Seahawks probably should beat the Rams here, but I'm going to have the Rams sweeping Seattle. Then Bears, Packers. I think Packers win that one. Commanders, Eagles. This one, you know what? I'm going to have the Eagles winning this. I think Commanders get swept by the Eagles. Giants, Vikings. Give me the Vikings to win this one. Panthers at home are going to take one against the Bucs here. And Cardinals at home versus the Falcons. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Now we got Chiefs at home against the Broncos. Give me the Chiefs off a short week at home. Yeah, that's going to the Chiefs. Does that say Forham? Chargers, Texans. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. And now Titans jump into first place. All right, Colts, Jaguars. Give me the Colts at home. Jets, Patriots. I'll take the Patriots against the Jets. Patriots probably going to sweep them. Broncos, Steelers. Broncos. Why do I keep saying Broncos? I'm going to go with the Steelers to get a win here. Get up to 500. They're looking for that winning season. Raiders at home. Probably beat the Giants here. And then Packers, Ravens. This could be a good one. This could be a really good one. I'm actually going to go with the Packers to get that win there. Bengals should get one against the Cardinals there. Titans, Saints. Here, I'm actually going to have the Saints taking one against the Titans. Titans looking to win the division, but they're not going to get it there. Then we got Buccaneers, Dolphins. I'm going to go with the Dolphins, actually, to get an upset win at home over the Buccaneers. Bills, Eagles. Give me the Bills to get this win here at home over the Eagles. And, I mean, it's competitive. The wild card race, 11-5, 10-6, 10-6, 10-6. It's competitive here. It is. I think Steelers are probably eliminated at this point. Now we got Cowboys, Commanders. Give me the Commanders to get that win here at home on Thursday Night Football. Is this Christmas? This is Christmas football. What do we have? We have Chiefs, Broncos, Cowboys, Commanders, and Lions, Vikings. Okay, that's not bad. Give me the Vikings at home to get this win over the Lions. Then we got Panthers versus Seahawks. I'm actually going to go with the Panthers to get this win here at home over the Seahawks. And we got Niners at home over the Bears. I'm going to go with the Niners to get that win. And then Monday Night Football, the Rams are going to take this one. All right. Now we're getting into the final week. Let's look. So Chiefs at this point, let's see. Chiefs at this point have not clinched the number 1 seed. So Chiefs need to win in order to clinch. And coming off a mini bye, I think they're going to do just that. Chiefs clinch the number 1 seed, but Raiders are also fighting for a playoff spot. So this could be interesting. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. So right now, the standings in Week 18, we have the Chiefs in the number 1 spot, 13-3, 5-0 in the division. Then we have the Bills at number 2, fighting for that number 1. Ravens are out of it. Ravens are locked into the number 3 seed, so they could actually rest. They're probably going to rest starters, which will allow the Steelers. Oh my goodness, they are not. Oh my God, they're still fighting for the division. I didn't even realize. I wasn't even looking at the Bengals. They are fighting for the division. So if the Steelers win and the Bengals win, then the Ravens are out of the playoffs. Okay, and then the Patriots would be in. Okay. So then if they both win, Patriots would be out. Okay. So, yeah, this is why we talk about it. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to have the Bills beating the Jets. And then we have Texans Colts. This is Texans at home. I'm going to give that one to the Texans. Texans make the playoffs as a 7-10 team. Again, I don't like the Texans. I don't like their offensive line. I don't like their defensive line. I don't think they're a good team this year. Now we got Broncos at home. I'm going to give the Broncos a win here at home. I think Chargers are, well, let's see. Chargers are locked because they swept the Raiders. Chargers are locked into that number 5 seed, I believe, unless the Patriots win. So if the Patriots win, then the Chargers fall to number 6. Okay. So Patriots win, Chargers fall to number 6. But I think they're pretty much locked, because then if the Patriots win, but then so do the Bengals win and the Ravens, then the Chargers would be the 7th seed. Okay, so Chargers actually do have something to play for here. So then Chargers with something to play for, I think they do probably beat the Broncos. You know what? I still think they could split. I'm gonna go with the Broncos to get this win here, over the Chargers. Then we got Bengals Browns. Give me the Bengals. I think Patriots are. I think Patriots are gonna lose one to the Dolphins, eliminated from the postseason here. Steelers Ravens. Give me the Ravens to take this game against the Steelers on the road. They need it. And they're locked into that 3 seed. Titans win this. They're already out, but Titans are going to win it. Finish at 7-10, just missing the playoffs because of that tiebreaker with the Texans, the divisional tiebreaker there. And then Raiders lose. They are still in the playoffs. Raiders win and the Chiefs get the 2 seed. Nope, I'm still going to have the Chiefs winning it. Raiders are the 7th seed, so these are the final standings. Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Ravens 3, Texans 4, Bengals 5, Chargers 6, Raiders 7. Patriots just missing out at 10-7, then the Dolphins at 9-8, then the Steelers at 8-9. Steelers do not get their winning season here. Now over to the NFC. We have the Eagles in the 1 seed at 11-5. We have the Panthers 2 seed 10-6, Bucks 6 seed at 10-6, Rams 3 seed 10-6, Packers 4 seed 10-6, Lions 5 seed 10-6, Seahawks 7 seed 10-6, 49ers missing out at 10-6, Vikings missing out at 9-7. Then we have the Cowboys at 8-8. So lots of 10-6 teams. I think at this point the Cowboys and Commanders have been essentially eliminated. But let's see. The Eagles, if the Eagles lose and say the Panthers win, the Eagles are still locked in. What about if the Bucks win? Eagles are locked in. Eagles are locked into the number 1 seed. So Eagles are going to rest starters, probably play in the first half, but then rest. Commanders have already been eliminated from the playoffs at this point. They finish as a 9-8 team, just missing out. Cowboys are also going to miss out, but Cowboys are going to win this final game against the Giants. I'm going to have the Falcons beating the Saints here. I'm just looking at the games that don't really matter. This is going to come down to it. This decides the division. This is a very important matchup here. This decides who gets a wild card spot and who falls out of it. This one, I'm going to have the Rams beating the Cardinals, and Rams are going to win the division. Seahawks can't win it. 49ers can't win it. So Rams win the division at 11-6. They are the 2 seed. Now we have Vikings Packers here. Vikings, I don't think can make the playoffs, but they would be knocking the Packers out of the playoffs. And I'm actually going to have the Vikings winning this game at home. They knock the Packers out of the playoffs, and I don't know. I don't know if the Vikings can win it, but we'll see. 49ers, Seahawks. So this one, again, I don't like the 49ers team this year. It's just how easy their schedule is that gets them to 10-6. I will have the Seahawks winning. I think the Seahawks are a much better team and a much better roster. If the 49ers win this, the Seahawks drop to the 7 seed, and the Niners would be the 5 seed, which is reasonable. This is, man, I'm still thinking about this. This is a toss-up. Do the Seahawks sweep the Niners? Niners might be healthier this season. Maybe some of the rookies are standout. You know what? No, I will have the Seahawks winning this game, sweeping the Niners, sweeping the Cardinals, getting swept by the Rams, and then Panthers Buccaneers here. Panthers Buccaneers. Buccaneers win, and the Panthers are out of the playoffs, and then Vikings Packers are in. Panthers win, then Panthers, dude. So win and you win the division, lose and you are out of the playoffs entirely, is what we're saying here. So the winner, so either way, the Vikings and Packers are both making the playoffs, unless it ends in a tie. But either way, the Vikings and Packers are both making the playoffs here. And then what if we look at Niners winning? Then, so I will, let's see here, man, this is a tough one. I think Buccaneers probably match up better. Buccaneers are at home, and Panthers are a good team. Panthers are a good team this season. This is a really tough one. You know what? I am going to go with the Panthers getting an upset on the road, getting the number 2 seed in the NFC, and eliminating the Buccaneers from the playoffs. And now our matchups are set for the playoffs. We have in the wild card round Texans hosting the Bengals. We have Ravens hosting the Chargers, Bills hosting the Raiders. Then we have Lions hosting the Seahawks. We have Rams hosting the Vikings. And we have Panthers hosting the Packers. So, and on bye, we have the Eagles and Chiefs. So, for this first one, I'm going to have the Texans as first-round exits. I think Bengals will walk all over them. I don't love the Texans. I don't love any team from the AFC South. Whoever wins the AFC South, I think, is a first-round exit. Ravens hosting the Chargers. We got the Harbaugh Bowl here in the first round of the playoffs, and I think this one is actually going to go to the fresher Harbaugh. I'm going to go with the Chargers to get a road win, eliminating the Ravens in the first round of the playoffs. Then we got Bills Raiders. I think Bills are going to just run away with this one. Bills offense is, the Raiders defense is not going to be able to do anything. Bills are going to run away with that one. We got Seahawks, Lions. I think the Mike Macdonald defense in its truest form is an amazing test for Jared Goff, and I think the Mike Macdonald defense wins this one. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to get a win in Detroit on the road in the first round. Rams, Vikings. Rams should take this. I think the Rams defensive line is just, it's going to be a repeat of last season, except J.J. McCarthy's there instead of Sam Darnold. Vikings improved their offensive line for sure, but I like the Rams a lot. I think they move on to the second round. And then we have Panthers, Packers here. Panthers at home. Their defense might struggle a little bit, but I think their offense is going to lead them to a wild card round win here. Panthers win this one. Then we got Bills hosting the Bengals, and you know what? This is where the Bengals fall short. Their defense is not going to be able to stop the Bills. And here we got Chiefs, Chargers. Chargers are 3 losses this season to the Chiefs. Now we got Panthers, Rams here. This one, Panthers are at home. They're the higher seed. I think their offense is going to be able to do a little bit of damage against the Rams secondary. I'm not a huge fan of the Rams secondary this year. I like everything else. But this late in the playoffs, too, does Matt Stafford still have it? I think Mike Jackson is going to get targeted in that Panthers secondary, but I do like the Panthers defense quite a bit. I'm going to go with the Panthers to advance to the NFC Championship here. And then we got Seahawks, Eagles. Pete Carroll never lost to the Eagles, but unfortunately, I think Mike McDonald doesn't share that same luck. I'm going to go with the Eagles to get a win here. Seahawks don't have a true nose tackle. So Eagles are going to take this one. And now we go into the conference championship. Chiefs hosting the Bills. Once again, this time the Bills are going to get it done. They're going to get a win. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, but we're going to pretend it's going to happen. Bills moving on, advancing to the Super Bowl. Eagles, Panthers. Panthers are on a Cinderella run this season. It's not going to be enough. Eagles are going to take this win, and I think that it's going to be a blowout. Eagles take that win. Eagles, Bills in the Super Bowl. What a fantastic matchup. I think the Bills are a great team. I do. And I think they're going to be able to capitalize on the Eagles missing Kellen Moore. I'm going to go with the Bills to get a Super Bowl win here. In the 2025 season, Bills are your Super Bowl champions over the Philadelphia Eagles. That is going to do it for this video. About 2.5 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you all in the next video. I will be doing some draft stuff. I will be posting videos on the full Seahawks draft. I will also be breaking down every Seahawks game by game, throughout the next couple months. We have a few months before the season starts, so I'm going to be taking my time and really going in depth on that stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed. See y'all in the next one. Later.